Taylor, I started thinking about this last night, and we'll get to the Stanley Cup Finals. 2 games apiece now. Panthers and Oilers, they head back to Edmonton. That is rough when it gets to 1-1-1, where the crew has to fly, and the teams have to fly from South Florida to Edmonton, back to South Florida, and if, God forbid, it goes to Game 7, they'll have to go back to Edmonton. That is a lot of travel for a lot of those people who were involved in the NBC telecast and a lot of people who are covering the Stanley Cup Finals. But, Taylor, you have been here for about a week. Now, I put you in a hotel that is pretty close to my house, and it dawned on me yesterday when my wife said to me, maybe you should spend some time with Taylor. Maybe you should invite Taylor over to the house. Maybe you should play golf with Taylor. Have you checked in with Taylor? And the truth is, I haven't. I leave here, and Taylor does what he does, and I take gummies. I mean, that's the reality. And today, I'll take an extra gummy because U.S. Open Round 2 going on. So I'm very excited about that. And then I have that the entire weekend. So this is me checking in with Taylor. You have been living for the last week in the same town, city that I live in. I have not checked in with you. I have not done a single thing with you outside of seeing you inside these studios and calling you every hour and a half. But I'm not checking in on you. I'm just giving you updates on what the hell is going on around here. All right? So are you okay? Have you enjoyed where it is that I live?
It's ironic that a lot of the things Abby is saying that you should do with me are things that I pitched to you when I first got here. Like, hey, maybe you send me your address and I come hang out for a bit.
Right.
Maybe we do a little barbecue. Maybe we go to a pool. Maybe we go golfing. Mm-hmm. And when I pitched that to you, it fell on deaf ears.
Oh, no. When Abby pitched it to me, it fell on deaf ears as well. Don't you worry. Like, what have you been doing? There's nothing to do around here. It's why I live up here. There's nothing to do. I mean,
yeah, I've just been going back and forth between the mall in Boca and the mall in Sawgrass Mills.
The mall in Boca. Did you run into my wife?
I think I did see her. Yes. I went to the mall.
You have spent more time with Abby. Abby has spent more time with Taylor than I've spent with Taylor. If there is a good chance you go to the Boca Mall, you will run into Abby or one of my 2 daughters. With a credit card that doesn't have their name on it. Anyway.
When I went to the Sawgrass Mills Mall,
yes,
I had maybe the worst experience I've ever had at a mall. So I was going to an Abercrombie, but they were closing. So I was like, okay, let me park, run in, and go to this Abercrombie. I get into the mall, and the Abercrombie's not even there. They said, sorry, this is an Abercrombie Kids. We have this problem all the time on the maps. Okay, whatever. I leave the mall, and then as I'm leaving the mall, it's pretty dark out because it's like 8:30. I couldn't remember where I parked my car.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't remember what entrance I came in.
You got to take a picture. The Sawgrass Mall is bigger than an airport. Yeah. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It's bigger than a small airport. And so now you realize when I say, when I make fun of Sunrise and I say it's a mall and 4 car dealerships, now you know why, right?
Yeah. Yes. So it felt like the Seinfeld episode where they're looking for their car in the indoor parking garage, except I was outside in the Florida heat, walking up and down. An old lady comes by, and she's like, hey, do you need help trying to find your car?
A KG vet, yes, right.
So now it's me and this maybe 80-year-old woman walking up and down. I'm pressing the key. Mm-hmm. I have a rental car, so I can barely even remember what the rental car looks like or what the rental car sounds like.
That's funny.
At one point, I went back in the mall. I turned to the old lady, and I was like, hey, thank you for your help. Like, this is a lost cause right now because I'm not even sure if we're in this section.
Right.
I went back into the mall, sat down at a bench, and was like, I might just live here now.
Right. Yeah. You and Kenny Albert. And Eddie Olczyk. The game last night was interesting. Panther fans were celebrating. It's 3-0. There's a celebration going on. You think you're going up 3-1. Edmonton switches goalies. They talked about that before the game. That gave them a jolt. Edmonton gets back into the game. Panthers tie it up with like 15 seconds to go. It's been a great Stanley Cup. But the Panther fans were celebrating in that arena as if they were going to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. And they might still win back-to-back Stanley Cups. But that was a terrible job. It is the rare game where I can tell you a goalie, Bobrovsky, gave up 5 goals and had one of the greatest Stanley Cup playoff games, finals games, that I've ever seen in my entire life. Because Edmonton should have scored 4 or 5 additional goals, and they didn't because of Bobrovsky. But what were your thoughts about that last night? Because Panther fans, the Panthers let one get away. That's a win the Stanley Cup game. Go up 3-1, try to get it done in Edmonton. If you don't, you come home for Game 6, you close it out right there. Now we have a series which is tied at 2 games apiece, and it seems like this series is going to go 7 games. So,
yeah, the Panthers had them dead. It was the first time in NHL history that a team led 3-0 in a final series after the first period and went on to lose the game. And I think if you're a Panthers fan today, what hurts the most is not only did you choke the 3-0 lead, but you went down 4-3. You have this unbelievable goal with 20-something seconds left to send it to overtime. And then when you get it to overtime, you're thinking, okay, yes, we blew the lead, but we put ourselves back in a chance to win, and you still lost.
Right.
And I think one of the most interesting parts from this Stanley Cup is that, it's a little prisoner of the moment, but this has been one of the most exciting Stanley Cups that I can remember.
3 overtime games.
Yes. And you have the 2 latest game-tying goals in Stanley Cup final history, Game 2 and then Game 4.
Right. Connor McDavid still doesn't have a goal. I mean,
it's becoming tough to defend.
He still doesn't have a goal. We played 4 hockey games. 3 of them have had extra sessions. 1 of them had 3 extra sessions. They played 2 games in one night. Still no goals. Best player in the world. Meanwhile, Draisaitl scores every big goal the Oilers need. Who's the best player on that team?
Thank you. It's an interesting argument.
Right.
He has four overtime goals now this postseason, most in NHL history. As somebody who wants to defend Connor McDavid, as somebody who roots for greatness in sports,
of course,
you're seeing what Greg Cody wrote, and it is becoming tougher and tougher to defend what McDavid's doing out there because he's just not scoring.
You can't be considered the best player in a sport, and when you get to the Stanley Cup Finals, second consecutive year. I know you had the 5 assists in 2 games, first 2 games, but you can't not score. You can't be the greatest goal scorer in the game and not score a goal. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like Kobe. It'd be like you singing the praises of Kobe through 2 NBA Finals games because he has 0 points and 27 assists. No one wants that from Kobe. They want no assist and 100 points through 2 games. And we're not getting that with Connor McDavid. How many, do you know, Taylor, how many goals he had last year in the Stanley Cup? It went 7 games last year.
I could check.
And it's going to go 7 games again this year. What I love about this series so much is you have a team that has something that the other team desperately wants. They played last year in the finals, and that team who has it, the Panthers, are saying, hey, if you want this thing that we have, you're going to have to kill us to get it. We thought it was over last night, but Edmonton put themselves back into the series by getting the job done. How many goals last year for McDavid?
3.
So we had 3 in a 7-game series. So they have played 11 games now. 11 games, Panthers and Oilers, Stanley Cup Finals, and he has 3 goals. All last year. But they're 2-2 without him scoring, and he's due, right? Like, I think if you're Edmonton, that's the way you look at it. Like, at some point, McDavid's going to come out and give you 4 goals, right?
Yeah, and now if you're Edmonton, winning yesterday, coming back yesterday, you stole home ice back, and it's basically now just a 3-game series with 2 of the games in Edmonton.
Yes. It's a great Stanley Cup. It will go down, if it continues this way and goes 7 games in Edmonton, it will go down as perhaps a top 5 Stanley Cup of all time. That's how good it's been. So hopefully the Panthers will get it done. Taylor, did you see, and we'll talk to Jorge Sedano about this. I want to get his thoughts on this. You see LeBron on his podcast talking about people getting on him because he won a ring in the bubble? I was one of those people. I felt like he was talking to me, directly to my soul. LeBron, do me a favor. Don't tell me what I can criticize and what I can't criticize. All right? It's my job. You won a ring in a bubble, granted, challenging times. I understand. We never should have played that NBA final. There was no reason to play that NBA final. We were all worried about dying. We were experiencing something we had never experienced before and hopefully will never experience again. But I don't need LeBron to tell me that ring means more than any other ring or the same as any other ring when part of doing it in the postseason is doing it on the road in front of their fans and shutting them up. He played in an arena where no one was watching, no one was sitting. It was antiseptic. It was, I don't know the word I'm looking for there. Antiseptic is the word I'm looking for there. LeBron did it inside of a bubble, okay? And I don't care. For me, I'll give you half a ring. So LeBron has 3.5 rings. He does not have 4 rings in my personal record book. 3.5 rings. And by the way, Father's Day right around the corner. Stugotz' personal record book. Wherever books are sold, go check it out. Go buy it, please. Thank you. But LeBron, don't tell me what I could criticize. For you to suggest that title is the same as all the other titles you've won is wrong. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. And the fact that you still care at this advanced age about what strangers are saying to you on social media is odd. Who cares what they say about you? Who cares what I have to say about you? But listen, you know basketball. You're an historian. You love the game of basketball. And you know what you did inside that bubble is not the same as what Michael did when he won his rings or the same that you did when you won your 3 previous rings. You got to go to Boston in a big Game 6, game for your life, and beat the Celtics on their home court and shut their fans up. You did that. That's what winning an NBA title feels like. Winning an NBA title in front of no fans, that's not what it feels like. It's tainted. I don't care what he says. Stop telling me what to say.
It's a heady play by him because he's kind of getting out in front of the criticism. Well, the criticism
has been there for years. He's not in front of anything. What are you talking about? He's reacting to it years after the fact. Still reacting to it. If he didn't bring it up, I would have stopped talking about it 3 years ago.
It is tough to say he's getting ahead of it.
I'm sweating.
It's the purest form of hoops.
No, it's not. How is it the purest form of hoops? Jimmy Butler was making coffee and walking around selling it to guys before the game. The purest form of hoops. There were no fans, Taylor. That's part of it. You know that.
Yes. Yeah. I was trying to play devil's advocate there for a second.
Right.
But the more I started talking it out, the more I realized, you know what, Stu kind of does have a point. But, Stu, before we toss to Sedano,
yes,
I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
If I say the name Kodai Senga to you.
I have no idea.
That was going to be my first question. Do you know who that is?
A baseball player.
He is a baseball player.
Nice.
He is the New York Mets' ace. Do you know how he's been doing this year?
8-2.
Fairly close. He's
2.43 ERA.
7-3. He has the best ERA in baseball. 1.47 ERA.
Oh, it's close.
But he gets hurt yesterday in the game. Now he's going to be going on the IL with a hamstring strain. Mm-hmm. He got hurt covering first. Right. And I have this sound, and I would have been mad if we didn't get to this sound today just because of how it made me laugh. I love listening to baseball games on radio.
Right.
And this sound is courtesy of Howie Rose on Mets radio.
Legend.
Now Senga deals. Swinging a bouncing ball towards first to his right. Alonso backhands, plants, throws high to first. Senga brings it down but stumbles across the bag and appears to be hurt. They get the out at first, but something's up with Senga. I don't want to guess. Calf, ankle, hamstring.
I mean, I don't want to guess, but let me guess every single body part by his ankle. Calf, hamstring, ankle, fracture, broken. I don't want to guess, though. I called Howie Rose a legend. He is a legend. He's better than that.
Yeah.
What do you think happened there? What he says, I don't want to guess, and then starts guessing. Do you think anyone went into his headset and said, hey, you're guessing now?
Yes.
So... Yeah. Kodai Senga, what's his name?
Kodai Senga.
He's my ace?
He's your ace.
Huh.
You'll see him in October.
He's my ace. And he hurt himself running the bases.
Trying to cover first base.
Trying to cover first
base.
Little
PFP, pitcher's fielding practice.
I was guessing. How do you say his first name?
Kodai.
So the
Kodai.
So the K in Kodai stands for strikeouts?
Yes.
The S in Senga stands for Ks. Stupidity! Sedano next. Let's bring in my friend Jorge Sedano here. He is covering the NBA Finals. He is part of the television and radio broadcast of the NBA Finals. Taylor, every Friday, a little segment I like to call Shooting the Shit with Sedano, if we can make it happen. I'll probably have to pay George. That. You can check out his show, ESPN LA, 710, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Will I have to pay you to do that, Shooting the Shit with Sedano every Friday?
I mean, probably not. But talk to me by, send me a proposal, COB. You know what I mean?
Today, you need it today, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to send it next Thursday before Friday's, Shooting the Shit segment.
Exactly.
You are on the telecast for the NBA Finals. You're doing sidelines for both TV and radio. This is dream come true type stuff for you, George. I know it's not the way you wanted to get there exactly on the television side, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Lisa Salters and her family for what's going on there. But, George, you got the opportunity. I watched you the other night. You had Haliburton on postgame. You crushed it. You had those big, thick glasses on. We'll get to those in just a second. But what does it feel to be doing this, George? How does it feel for you to be doing this?
Yeah, look, I mean, let's start with the fact that, with Lisa, you mentioned it, thoughts and prayers to her and her family. Her mom is sick, and, she's tending to her family as she should. And, for me, it's just about keeping the seat warm for her. But, separately, obviously, it's awesome, right? Like, it's hard to compartmentalize,
of
right?
Course,
Those
yes.
two feelings where you feel empathy towards someone and what they're going through. Look, I've been through it, right? You and I have had these discussions, right?
Yes.
And we know what it's like, to be in her situation with a family member. So it's tough, but she's been great, always great to me. And to have this opportunity and to work with people I've worked with, and you and I have talked about this before where, the beauty of what we do at ESPN on the NBA project is Tim Corrigan, who's the leader, makes us all work together during the season. He mixes all the crews up, right? So that way everybody works together, gets a chance to work with Mike Breen or Doris Burke or Richard Jefferson or himself as the producer. And, lo and behold, in a situation like this, there is no learning curve, basically. You've already worked with all these people, both individually and as a collective.
Game 4 is tonight. Yeah, George, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's tough. You're torn because you have this great opportunity, but there's also someone that you care deeply about who is in a lot of pain right now because something is going on with a family member, and I think everyone can relate to that. I was making fun of you because, I haven't seen you in a while, and I turned on the TV, and there you are with these thick glasses on, and I got to tell you, you look great, but it was also a reminder of, man, we're fucking getting old, George.
Yeah, they're readers.
Yes.
Number one, because I got tired of squinting at my phone and my laptop, and I basically succumbed to the pressure last year, about a little over a year ago now. I was doing. You know what I did? I said I refuse to be the jerk who is going to make myself and my phone's font the size of a billboard.
Right.
Okay?
No,
So
I have been fighting that for 4 or 5 years now. I'm serious. Yes.
Yeah. And I was not going to do that. So I was tired of squinting. And I just said, you know what? One day I was at CVS and I looked and I'm like, oh man, look at these readers.
Yeah.
And I looked and I'm like, those are kind of cool. Like they look good.
Sure.
And I bought 5 of them.
Right.
Okay. So what I did was I've got 5 of them. I've got one that I keep with myself. I put one in my backpack, one in my car, one at the office, and one at my office at the house.
Right.
All right. And I've got a bunch of them laying around. So if I lose them, because I'm capable of certainly losing them,
right.
I've got them everywhere and they all look the same.
Right. So I think CVS and Walgreens has this figured out because you'll buy 5 pairs. You'll lose all 5 pairs eventually. Then you have to go back and buy 5 more pairs.
And buy another $150 worth of readers. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
How long did you fight? How long did you fight it, George? Using the glasses full time?
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it was easily another year where my vision. And you're just like, man, I don't know. Like, am I just tired, right? Like that I can't see. Did I have too much to drink the night before? Like, like what's going on here? And then my wife, who has had glasses forever, and uses contacts or reading glasses, she goes, but can you see when you're driving? I'm like, yeah, perfectly. And she goes, so it's literally just when you're looking at your phone and your laptop and the computer? And I said, yeah. She goes, can you see the TV fine? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you just need readers, you dope. And I was like, okay. Then I actually went to like an optometrist, and he said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Except he didn't call me a dope. But yeah, and that's what it was. So here they are. They look fancy. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, loves them. I swear to God, during the Western Conference Finals, he legit asked me if they were like designer.
Really?
And I'm like, no, bro, CVS, $30.
$30? What are you doing? $30? What do you mean?
Yeah.
How much money do you think you spent on those glasses? Because I have spent at least $450.
How much money have I spent on glasses in the last year and a half?
Yeah, and George, the worst part is I go to CVS, I buy a pair of glasses, then I get home and I find the pair of glasses.
The one that I lost.
Yeah,
I know. But see, I go through the phase of different styles, right? Like there was one time where I did them and they were a little thin. I didn't love the way they looked thin.
Right.
Then I had like these ones that were a little thinner than these, but they were like blue.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I liked the blue ones, so I had a bunch of blue ones.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I found these black ones.
Right.
And I was like, oh, black. Scott Kaplan, my radio partner, says I look like the Cuban Clark Kent. So there you go.
Game 4 NBA Finals tonight. It's an interesting NBA Finals. A lot of people are saying there's no big-time stars. You have the MVP who's playing in the NBA Finals. But, George, I think the biggest superstar in this series is Tyrese Haliburton. Now, he has some bad games, some lousy games, but he has hit some big shots we'll remember for the remainder of time in the postseason. And for me, the star of this series and the star of this postseason has been Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah, I would agree to this point. I think that, this conversation, I would respectfully disagree with some of my colleagues who say he's not a superstar even at this point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's pretty wild to have that take, I think, at this point. But, lo and behold, everybody's going to have an opinion on it, and that's fine. But, yeah, I mean, the other thing is he's kind of relatable in a lot of ways. He just is a normal dude, too, in a lot of ways, which I think is also something that's endearing. But yet, like most of us, being a normal dude, he'll talk some crap, right? Like he'll absolutely get into it with guys, especially if he's balling out, which is exactly what all of us would do if we had these kind of superpowers that these guys would have. He doesn't always look aesthetically pleasing, and I think that might be something that people are not drawn to. But yeah, he's awesome, and what he's been able to accomplish is great. And by the way, you're talking about on the other side, he's got the MVP of the league right now. He's going up against, and Shea is super popular amongst young kids, like the Gen Z kids, the TikTok crowd.
Yeah.
But Tyrese has become someone that, because of the shots that he's made, has perhaps become a bit more popular amongst old farts like us.
Hey, Sedano. Do you feel like the narrative in this series has been weird, where every time the Pacers win, it just feels like a moving of the goalposts, like Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6, and then we're just going to keep saying that until the Pacers are, presented
holding
with
up the Larry O'Brien trophy? Right.
Well, yes, I probably, if that's the case. And look, Vegas keeps pushing the odds too, right? Like they're still the favorite to win the series despite being down 2-1. Now, look. If you're down 2-1 after being tied 1-1, obviously, you only have a 21% chance to win the series. However, in the last decade, we've had 3 teams do it. We had the Cavs; they were obviously down 3-1. The Warriors were down 2-1 against Boston and came back to win. And then there is Giannis and the Bucks, who won down 2-1 against the Suns. So it's happened 3 times in more recent memory. So that's 33% chance or whatever. But it's not great chances at this point. But here's the thing, Taylor, they're really good. On paper, they are the better team. Unfortunately, though, it's not like Indy's some slouch. Since January 1st, these are the 2 best teams in the sport. It's OKC 1, it's Indy 2. So that's a pretty damn large sample size that we're dealing with now. This is not just this Indiana team that's fluky. And that's something Haliburton told us. He said, because we asked him, when did you guys feel like you knew this team would be really good this year? And he said, well, first of all, coming off the Eastern Conference Finals, going into the season, we had the rough start, but we were adamant that last year was not a fluke, and we got to prove to people it wasn't a fluke. And he actually said that it was during the break during NBA Cup, right? They had a week off during the in-season tournament, that they actually had real practices, broke down film as a team, and really got together in a way that forged kind of the bond that this team had, and they kind of took off from there. And if you look at their record from that point on, they are one of the top teams even from that point as an inflection point. But, even though I referenced January 1st. So, so they have certainly been one of these teams that feels like they want to prove to people that, last year wasn't a fluke, that they just because people thought it was fluky because they got swept by the Celtics. But the Celtics were really damn good last year. So, I think that people are going to keep moving the goalposts. Hell, John, you will remember this specifically. That's what they did with the Heat and Mavs back in 2011.
100. I was just thinking about that. Yes.
The Heat will come back, they'll win, and then it was over in 6.
Right. Yes.
With how Indiana has more than held their own this finals, would you say the biggest winner this series has been Tom Thibodeau?
Yes. And probably the Knicks, to be honest with you.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Yes. Like less so Tom Thibodeau, because the Knicks is, their inability to function like a normal franchise,
even when they're good,
is astounding, right? Like, this is a guy who took you to a place that you hadn't been in 25 years. And look, I get it. It had to be pretty damn bad, right, behind the scenes for them to have fired him after that.
Sure.
And I get that. So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt in that regard. But you can't fire the guy, no matter how bad it was, okay, who took you to heights you hadn't been in 25 years, if you don't have someone already lined up.
like the next day.
What are you doing?
Right. Yes.
You're asking, hold on, you think that, you're that,
arrogant.
Yes. You are that arrogant.
Yes.
It is incomprehensible that you are that arrogant, that you believe that you're going to fire this guy. And then you're going to ask 3 teams, hey, by the way, can we interview your coach? And you expected them to give you permission? And by the way, look at the names. Jason Kidd, who was in the finals now 2 seasons ago, who just landed Cooper Flag, okay? Mm-hmm. The number 1 overall pick after losing Luka Doncic. Chris Finch, who was just in the conference finals for the 2nd straight season. Yeah. And who was the 3rd guy?
Udoka from the Rockets.
And Udoka, who's got a team that went from not even being in the play-in to getting to the playoffs, and is a team that we all believe is on the cusp of becoming one of the great teams in the Western Conference. The audacity is insane.
It is the Mecca.
And there's been a couple of names added to that list. Billy Donovan, the Bulls denied the Knicks, and then Quinn Snyder, the Hawks denied the Knicks.
Right, the Hawks, right. That was another one. Yeah. Why would these teams make it easier for you? Because think about it. They're going to get, sure. Yeah, sure, Knicks. You guys have our coach. Then we have to do a coaching search because that's what everybody wants to do.
Right. If you're Tom Thibodeau, make yourself Tom Thibodeau for a second, and James Dolan calls you today and says, listen, made a mistake. My bad. Want to rehire you as the head coach of the New York Knicks. What do you say to him?
No chance.
Really? I think Tom would do it. I don't know.
Pay me, bro. He's going to get another job anyway. So just pay me, bro. Sorry.
That's fair. What'd you make of LeBron criticizing fans for criticizing him about the ring that he won in the bubble? Did you hear about that? What'd you make of that?
Okay, say what?
So LeBron is upset with fans. He was on a podcast recently, and he's upset because fans have been giving him a hard time because one of the rings he won was not a traditional ring. He won it in a bubble, didn't have to go on the road, didn't have to play against, with fans in the arena. What do you make of LeBron being to me, it's odd that LeBron is still so sensitive about this stuff, about people that he's never met in his entire life, strangers, criticizing LeBron and his accomplishments.
John, I'm surprised that you are actually criticizing this because that's the most Stugotz thing ever. What are you talking about? He literally is making, so what? He reads the internet and uses it as fodder for his podcast.
You're right.
You've been doing that for 25 years. What are you talking about?
Right, at a very high level. You're right.
Right. Seriously. It's literally every talk show host's move. oh, somebody said something about me. Like a small fraction of people are actually saying something about me that I can then use in turn and use for content.
Yeah.
The guy's no different than you and me for the last quarter century.
I guess you're right, but he doesn't deserve that ring in the bubble. It should be like half a ring.
You know? Stop. Let me tell you something. Paul George and the Clippers literally tapped out of the bubble. They were winning 3-1, okay, in a series and tapped out. Guys they wanted to get out of there. They had to have a meeting as a collective, as a group in that place. I mean, they were could you imagine being in one place, seeing the same thing for 90-something straight days, like literally seeing the same things, eating the same things. Like that has to be a mind bleep of epic proportions. So at some point, and you can't see your family. I mean, those guys at the end did, but that can't have been easy. Like I talked to colleagues who were, kind of like losing it after a little while and couldn't, wait to get out of there. So I can't imagine, by the way, then tacking on, oh, by the way, I got to play like full basketball games. That actually means something in that situation.
It was on LeBron's Mind the Game podcast.
With Nash.
And,
Nash.
And Stu, I think you should almost respect it because the way he's framing it in this argument, it almost sounds like he's saying that ring should count for 2 because it was the purest form of
Look at that. That's a Stugotz move right there.
Well, it is. He is. The Stugotz is strong in LeBron. But let me tell you something. Part of winning in the postseason and part of getting those rings and having those rings mean something is going on the road in a big spot and winning big games with the fans in the arena, George. Come on.
Right. I get it. But the circumstances for that, we all thought we were going to die. Okay. Remember that? We thought we were going to die.
Yes, but we weren't concerned enough where we didn't want to play the NBA Finals, I mean.
Well, we played them in October, though. So remember that part of the equation.
That is totally fair. I'm wondering, when you spend a couple of nights in Oklahoma City, does Indianapolis feel like Jamaica when you get there? Like, is it...
Listen, I like Oklahoma City.
Okay.
There is not a place in the NBA that they are nicer to you than in Oklahoma City.
Right.
It is one of those towns where you can be walking down the street and people say good morning, people say good afternoon, good evening. It is wild. It is like from a time of yesteryear in that sense. So I do love the charm of Oklahoma City. But yes, being in Indianapolis I wouldn't say Jamaica. I would say it feels like I'm in like New York or London because of the way that the two cities are compared to each other. I mean, Indianapolis is a city with tons of skyscrapers. Well, it's nowhere near like New York, right? But it feels that way. It feels a lot more like New York than it would be than Oklahoma City does. But yeah, it feels more like a thriving metropolis for sure. Yeah.
ESPN LA 710, 3 to 6 p.m. with Scott Kaplan, NBA Finals Game 4, radio and TV. He'll be all over the coverage tonight. Game 4 is tonight. George, speaking of MVPs, SGA doing it on the road, if you're the MVP of the NBA tonight in a must-win game for Oklahoma City, it feels like if you're SGA, you go out, you put up 45 points, you win that game for your team tonight, right? That's what the best do.
Yeah, well, look at what he did in game 2, right? He had 38 and 8 and 5 or whatever it was. So, yeah, he's got to have a similar stat line to that. He's still going to need help. He did get some contributions from Chet and Jalen Williams. Chet had a monster first quarter to kind of propel them, played really well in the first half, particularly. Jalen Williams had a monster third quarter, but they all kind of ran out of gas. And it's funny, when I talked to Shea yesterday, he just talked about playing against their pace. And it's funny because Indiana's talked on the opposite end about how insane it is to play against their defense, right? So these teams have a tremendous amount of respect towards each other. But like Shea was saying, they go so fast. They go off of misses, they go off of makes. And not only do you have to keep up offensively, but then you have to be able to keep up defensively. And I think what Indiana did was, which was a smart adjustment by Rick Carlisle and company, was less set plays that allows OKC to kind of really set in defensively, because Haliburton said, dude, they're like a bunch of rabid dogs if they know what's coming, if they know a set play is coming, because they can blow it up pretty quickly. He's like, so we kind of like free flowed a little more than what we were used to, more read and react. And that kind of threw them off a tiny bit. And they were just maybe like a quarter a step late. And that allowed us to get paint touches, then allowed us to kind of swing the ball and get into our offensive flow. He's like, but look, they're going to make an adjustment to that too. Like they're going to understand what we're doing after another day. So it's going to be fascinating to see. But yeah, I do think that I think their defense, honestly, John, is also a big catalyst to what they do. They're the number one team in turning people over and converting it into points. Now, on the flip side, in Game 3, they turned the ball over a hell of a bunch, which is not the case because they take care of the ball really well. Both these teams do. They're number 1 and 2 in taking care of the ball. But OKC, man, if they turn you over, usually it means disaster for the other team. And that's why Game 1 was so fascinating because Indy had 20 turnovers in that first half. 8 of those turnovers were dead ball,
right?
Which means they couldn't get it in motion and get to the other side and try to get a basket. They had to take it out of bounds, and that really was some good luck on Indy's part because usually those 8, let's just say like they get 4 extra turnovers. That's probably at least anywhere between 4 and 8 points, and means OKC wins that game a lot more comfortably in Game 1, and it's not Haliburton winning the game with a shot with 0.3 left.
All right, buddy, you're crushing it. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, and happy Father's Day. Enjoy your Father's Day in Oklahoma City, okay?
I will. I'm literally flying to L.A. tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice.
7 a.m.
Right.
I'm going to spend like 12 hours in L.A. To see my wife, see my kids, wash clothes, get some new suits, coach my kids' basketball game, and then get on a plane back to OKC to spend Father's Day.
You are a great father. Father of the Year, Jorge Sedano. Check him out. ESPN LA, 710, 3 to 6 p.m. That's a good job by you, George. I taught you well. Be there for the kids, okay?
All right, buddy. I'll see you at the next, lacrosse mitzvah. See ya.
I'll see you. I love you, buddy. Happy Father's
Love
Day
you.
to you. Okay.
And now we go back to Stu for a sports update.
All right, Taylor, thank you. Peter Crow Armstrong and Saya Suzuki. Homer, as the Cubs beat the Pirates 3-2. That was last night. Why are we giving baseball scores from last night? People might listen to this tonight or over the weekend. By the time they listen to this, the Cubs will have played 3 more games. But last night is the only game that matters. And it was Peter Crow Armstrong, who's going to join us in a couple of weeks. And Saya Suzuki, who's never going to join us. Homered as the Cubs beat the Pirates again 3-2. They only beat them once. It was not a doubleheader, okay? That was one game. And you're probably aware that the Cubs already beat the Pirates 3-2. Liverpool has agreed to a $157 million deal from German midfielder Florian Wirtz. I hope he's worth it. Hey-o! And finally, in Japan, letting a sumo wrestler make your baby cry is considered good luck. What?
I've missed those.
Well, missed what? Why am I doing updates? It's 2025. The only stations doing updates in America right now are WFAN and WIP in Philadelphia, and that's it. No one else is doing updates. Why am I doing it?
There's just something about when you say the words "and finally,"
Yes.
that just hit every time.
Okay, so that's the part you missed.
Yes.
Okay, just that part.
Yes.
Not Pete Crow Armstrong. Wouldn't it go without saying that if your baby... So I took my kids up to Orlando when they were very young, my twin daughters, and I took them to Disney World. And they were very excited on the way up to see all the characters until they got in front of the characters. And then they screamed as if someone was walking in the house trying to murder our entire family. And we had to leave the park. They were terrified. So imagine, this was Mickey Mouse. Now imagine it's a sumo wrestler. So of course my kid is going to cry, and the sumo wrestler is going to tell me, I did my job, got the job done. That's good luck for you and your kid.
It's kind of like when a bird poops on you.
No.
Where they say that's good luck. It's not good luck.
Right.
But just to make the person feel better,
Yes.
you say it's good luck. So this is probably to placate the sumo wrestler's ego because they're going to make them cry, but at least they get some good luck out of it.
Here's what I don't like about it. The sumo wrestler makes my kid cry, puts it under the umbrella of good luck, and leaves me to deal with the aftermath. Hey, get the hell out of here. Anyway, I am told you have imaging for June. This is very exciting. I was told, now, I'm not going to tell you who told me, but someone did tell me, hey, Taylor, he's been working hard. He's got imaging for June. So let me hear the imaging first before we get to June.
Okay, so close your eyes.
Okay, and imagine it's June?
Imagine it's June.
Okay.
You got you're mowing the grass.
Oh, no, I'm not.
You pay somebody to do that, but For the common folks, they're mowing the grass.
Okay.
Birds are chirping.
They won't. It's Augusta.
And a familiar face is outside to greet you.
Hey everybody, happy June.
Oh, it just got better. It just got better. Why are we mowing the lawn? What's happening? Go ahead.
Shane Steichen says Daniel Jones has been doing a hell of a job. June.
Yes. I don't care what Daniel Jones is doing in June. I don't care what Daniel Jones is doing any month out of any year and any time that we live on planet Earth together. Daniel Jones is done. The Giants gave him a big contract after that playoff victory. I think it was against the Vikings, right? And so the Giants, my buddy Joe Shane, was forced to give Daniel Jones a big contract. Daniel Jones, I don't care what he's doing in June. I certainly don't care what he's doing in September. I don't care what Daniel Jones is ever doing, okay? And Steichen has to say that. Anyway, go ahead. That's why it's June.
Why did you preface it that you're friends with Joe Shane? It's just a qualifier you have to throw out.
Yes, he's my friend. Yeah. He'll be on the show.
Hey everybody, happy June.
Thank you. Next.
Raiders praise coachable Ashton Genty at Raiders minicamp.
They're all coachable now because it's June.
You missed it.
June. It's my game. They're all coachable in June. Wait till we get into September, October, November, and Genty starts complaining about not getting enough touches. Anyway, next headline.
We have two more.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin is moving practices to the afternoon to take advantage of the heat.
He's taking advantage of Aaron Rodgers not wanting to wake up very, very early in the morning. That's what he's doing. I can't believe Tomlin is already caving in to Aaron Rodgers. Tomlin has done more than Aaron Rodgers has done in his career. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mike Tomlin is already changing, June, by the way, changing the practice schedule from the mornings. Now he's going to tell you, listen, it's a lot cooler in the afternoon. It's better in the afternoon.
No, I think he wants the heat.
Oh, he wants more heat?
Yes.
Oh, then I like it.
If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Get out of the mornings.
If
right.
you want the heat, move your practices to the afternoon.
If you can't handle the heat, get out of the mornings. Get to a hotter part of the day, the afternoons. Aaron's not going to be happy with that. Do you think Tomlin is doing that just to test Aaron?
Yes.
Because I think most guys want to get their shit done early and then just, get on with the rest of their day. What Tomlin is doing, the genius of Mike Tomlin, as I turn this around now, what Mike Tomlin is doing is saying, no. You'll spend the first half of your day thinking about what we're going to do during your second half of the day. There is no first half of the day practice. You go play golf. First half of the day, you think about what I'm going to do to you in the second half of the day.
Yeah.
That's why he's good.
It's
good enough to make the playoffs, just not win a Super Bowl.
It's two alphas, Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers coming together, and it's kind of Tomlin reestablishing the power back and letting Rodgers know, hey, you're on my team now.
Got it.
The last June headline we have, Jets running back Breece Hall is out to prove that I am the guy after a disappointing 2024.
June. I mean, Breece Hall is the guy. What is he talking about? Did the Jets get another running back that I'm not aware of? I mean, it is June, so I'm not paying attention.
I'm pretty sure
now.
it's just him and Braylon Allen.
Listen, it doesn't. When you're in a backfield, okay, that has Justin Fields in it, you're going to be the guy, okay? Breece Hall, you're going to be just fine. I know you want to reestablish. There's nothing to reestablish. You're a Jet. You're the best Jet that we have on offense. Is he? I think he's the best Jet we have on offense. He's our best. Yeah,
maybe Garrett Wilson.
It's not Garrett Wilson, okay? It's not with Justin Fields as quarterback. It is not Garrett Wilson. It is Breece Hall. Breece Hall will have a great year. He does not. Why am I talking about stuff that is happening in June?
He did only have one game last year where he rushed over 100 yards, so you do understand the disappointing factor of it.
I'll understand it in August.
And it kind of led to a spin-off game. He's trying to prove he's the guy. That's a game for next week. Guy or not that guy.
Guy or not guy?
Yeah.
We're playing guy or not guy. I like June, though. I don't want June. I'm not certain I want June to be. I think June as a publication in the written form would actually be better than the segment that we just did. Can we do that? Just do it like a mailer. Send them out. Put them in everyone's mailbox, okay? Happy June, everyone.